What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how quarterbacks can add 20 plus yards to their deep ball and how you can increase your arm strength. So I hope this video helps you guys out. I hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a quarterback and you would like to learn how you can read defenses, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to 500 plus videos just like this one where we break down defensive coverages and we put all videos into categories so it's easier for you guys to retain the information and learn. So if you want to become a smarter quarterback, increase your football IQ, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get started with this video. So there's three specific points that I want to cover in this video that is going to help your arm strength improve. Now, the first one is going to be your hitch at the top of the drop. So we're going to show this great example of Aaron Rodgers throwing a dime, nose of the football, turns over, driving this ball probably 40 plus yards downfield. And we're going to talk about mainly his hitch and then the second thing on this. So let's watch his feet here. So I want you to pay attention anytime that you're throwing, like, let's say a deep fade, a deep post. What's the drop that you usually take? Usually a 3 and a hitch, right? Or maybe a shuffle drop and a hitch, but you're hitching to be able to get distance on the throw. But people's mechanics are completely flawed on the hitch. So let's watch Rodgers here. He hitches up. I want you to see how much weight he's able to get to his back leg on his hitch. Now, you might think, well, why is that important? Why do you want weight on your back leg? Isn't that bad to throw with weight on your back leg? You don't want to throw off your back foot? No, you need weight on your back leg to set you up mechanically, but also so you can transfer that weight off of your back leg for power. So let me explain here. So when Rodgers gets to the top of this drop, you see how his base is in that kind of like bike kickstand base. Usually when you're throwing a deep post, a deep fade, you drop back and get a little bit of depth because you have to let the play develop. So it's completely normal to land like this on your drop. But when we throw, we obviously know that your power is going to be coming from your back leg and your hips. That's where arm strength comes from. That's where velocity comes from. But it's not necessarily about you just rotating with your hips and you just driving off your back leg. It's about the timing of your hips rotating through and the drive off your back leg. More specifically, your hips have to rotate through before you are letting go of the ball. So when Rodgers goes to throw, you see how his hitch, he almost shifts his weight back. He starts with weight on his front foot, and he's pretty much replacing his feet. You see where his left foot is? He replaces it with his right foot because that puts that back foot underneath that back shoulder, underneath his back hip, and this is a mechanically sound position. Now, when you guys are in a base, to generate power, to generate arm strength, throw distance, it all comes down to your throwing sequence. So your throwing sequence is broken down into 4 parts. The first part is going to be your base. Every single quarterback, when you're trying to throw deep, you want to have about 65 to 70% of your weight loaded on your back leg. That's the first part of the base. You want to be very light on your front foot because you can take that weight that you have on your back leg and transfer it to the front foot. You're light on the front foot so you can transfer that weight. But again, it's not about just transferring it. It's about the timing of the weight transfer. So that's the first part of the throwing sequence is the base. Now, the second part is going to be your front stride. You want to be able to get your front stride in the ground as quickly as possible. But when that front stride gets down, you want to maintain weight on your back leg because when that front stride hits, you have to rotate back with your shoulders. You have to close your front shoulder off to the target because your third part of the throwing sequence is your hip rotation. Remember, I talked about it. It's not just rotating with your hips. It's about the timing of the rotation with your hips. So those hips have to rotate through before the shoulders and before the football. So if you hit that front foot in the ground and your front shoulder is opening up, your front shoulder is swinging to the left, your front elbow is pulling down, that's going to throw you off the sequence. Your shoulders, which is the fourth part of the sequence, will come through before the hips. And that's why I lose power. The nose of the football doesn't turn over because I am off sequence. So you see Rodgers here. He gets the front foot down. His weight stays loaded back. His shoulders close. And watch what his front hip does. His front hip is rotating through. And you see how the hips are coming through before the football does. That is why we get that weight to my back leg. That is why we shift that weight to my back leg. Not only for momentum, not only so I could transfer the weight, but so I could have the right sequence. Because fellas, if you guys stand like this in the pocket, just like you could try this right now, stand up and put some weight onto your front foot. Try to rotate your shoulders back. A lot of you, it's super awkward. You can't rotate your shoulders back when you have weight onto your front foot. So what guys will do is they shift their weight back. They almost pretty much switch their feet because now their back foot's under their frame, that's a powerful position. You're going to be able to rotate with your hips if you take a short stride. So also, when you have weight loaded on your back leg, your body's way more flexible. Your body's way more mobile. You're able to actually rotate your shoulders back and get on the right sequence. So now you have that weight loaded, you take that short step, now it's time to drive. You get weight on that back leg, let's drive it to the front leg. After the stride is down. The stride and the back leg drive are separate events. You're not pushing off the back leg to take a step. You're stepping, it's a short step, then let's transfer through. Let's be aggressive with the back leg. Let's be aggressive with the hips so that weight can shoot all the way through. So fellas, that's why you need that hitch. If you want to increase your deep ball, I highly recommend doing that with your hitch. So many quarterbacks, they might think they're getting their weight back like how Rodgers does here where they're shifting it back, but they don't. They leave so much weight onto their front side. They're so heavy with their front foot. If you can switch your weight, you could get that back foot under your frame. You're light on the front foot. You will see a big, big change in the distance you have on the ball. Okay, so now the second thing I want to talk about is the arc of Aaron Rodgers' shoulders on this. So we're showing Aaron Rodgers, but then we're going to be showing Joe Milton, the quarterback from Tennessee that everybody's talking about, who's got that cannon for an arm. And we're going to show the similarities between his 70, 80-yard throw that he throws and Aaron Rodgers. We're going to show the similarities because honestly, fellas, arm strength is not that complicated to get down. You just have to focus on a couple of core things. And everybody throws the ball differently. So I'm not saying you have to throw it exactly like Rodgers. Notice how I'm not even talking about his arm. I'm just talking about the timing of his throwing motion, right? So now, second thing is going to be the arc of the shoulders. So many quarterbacks struggle with throwing a deep ball because they push the ball up in the air. They'll like push it. They'll throw it almost like a shot put. The ball doesn't spin. They don't get any snap on the ball because they don't have this arch of their shoulder. And when they release the ball, they don't have this snap of their release up high. Fellas, to throw the ball with some touch, to throw the ball with some arc like on a deep fade, you need to arch your shoulders and you need to snap your release up high like you're shooting a free throw. Now, this ties into your hitch because if you have weight on your back leg, it is very easy to arch your shoulders. It is very easy to lean back and arc and have this nice high trajectory. But if you guys hitch up or you guys try to throw with weight onto your front foot, you could probably see right now, it would be almost impossible to arc your shoulders because all of your weight is forward. So you shifting your weight back on that hitch sets you up to arc the shoulders. So now that energy that you're driving, that weight that you're transferring from the back leg, that weight, that energy, it all shoots up. It shoots up on the 45 so we could get a higher trajectory and more distance on the ball. So that is what we want to focus on with my shoulders. And then last but not least, to be able to generate power, fellas, it's going to be the foot strike. So I can't say this enough. You guys cannot overstride on a deep ball. You get your weight back, you have the shoulders back, but so many guys, because this back foot is under their frame, they love to push off of the foot. They love to push all their weight forward, and they take this real big step. Fellas, to generate torque, that front foot has to be down when those shoulders are back. You see how Rodgers has that front shoulder closed and the front foot is making contact with the ground. If you don't get to that spot, you will not generate torque. If that foot strikes the ground when you are already coming open with your front shoulder, you will lose torque. Torque comes from the shoulders staying behind your hips. If the hips rotate through before the shoulders and the ball, we will generate torque and we will generate power. But if you have this long stride, that throws off the timing of everything. Your shoulders are going to do the same motion regardless, but it's about the timing of this and the timing of your hips. And if this takes a while to get down because you're pushing everything forward, the timing's off and your feet are going to end up wide. So let's play this full speed one more time from Rodgers. This is a great job him getting his weight back, driving this ball, getting the nose to turn over simply because he has the right sequence. So now we're going to look at Joe Milton throw this thing. And this is what I want you to see. Because this is maybe not the most mechanically sound throw. He's fading out of the throw. He's kind of bailing out of there, but he's throwing this thing 80 yards, I think, right? So this is a bomb of a throw. But I want you to pay attention to some key things. Where does he start out in his base? Weight on the front foot, right? So now where does he end up? He shifts the weight back, and you see where his back foot is. Underneath his hip, shin is straight, weight is back. So remember, we get there so we could take that weight and transfer it through. But also so we could do what? Rotate back with my shoulders. Because remember, when that front foot hits the ground, my shoulders need to be closed. And you see where it is. Shoulders are closed. Weight is back, front foot is down, not a crazy overstride, and look at when the front foot hits. he has some weight on his back leg. He's not pushing all of it through. The weight is loaded on his back leg so he can stay back with his shoulders. This is so much torque bodied into one specific throw, all because of the timing of the strike, the timing of the shoulders, and the timing of the hips, aka your throwing sequence. Remember, it's about base, stride, and when the stride gets down, the shoulders stay back, and what has to go through next? The hips go through next. And when that back hip fires through before the elbow, before the ball, even if you bail out of there a tad, and I'm not saying to bail out of there. I actually would say like, hey, you want to try to stay a little bit more level. But when you're throwing a deep ball, sometimes you just got to get that ball out there. It's about the timing of your sequence. And you see, again, shooting this ball 80 yards in the air. That's an insane throw, but how he's able to generate that power is not because he's just bigger than everybody else. Yeah, that certainly helps, but that's only going to get you so far, especially when you're throwing with an NFL ball, especially when you're throwing against NFL college defenses. Guys, it's only going to get you so far being bigger than everybody else. You need the right type of mechanics, and it's all about the timing. If you have the right timing, like we said, if you can get to that base, if you can have that stride while the shoulders are back, and if you could have those hips going through before my shoulders, I will generate torque, and that will add distance to my deep throws. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like 500 plus videos just like this one, all based on reading defenses, how you guys can break down coverages, and the best plays against those coverages, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.